Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Justice, and today I'm going to be presenting research from an article that I read on implicit biases that develop in infancy. So, the first topic that I want to discuss is about perceptual narrowing. And so in this article, we learned that through research, infant recognition of own and other race faces experiences perceptual narrowing as infants age. So, by 3 months old, infants can recognize both their own and other race faces. However, through this research, we found that by 9 months, infants mostly recognize their own race faces and fail to recognize others, excuse me. And so this is really interesting because as the child develops, as seen in this picture, we see how infants identify with their own race. Perfect. So, throughout this article, we learned about the various experiments that occurred and the results from these experiments. And so, in experiment one, we learned about visual preference, and this experiment showed that newborns show no preference in race, but by 9 months, infants preferred looking at their own race faces, dictated by their exposure. In experiment number two, we learned about facial recognition. And through this experiment, we found perceptual narrowing, and that's where perceptual narrowing comes in. And so the infant's recognition abilities improved for familiar own race faces, but it declined for other race faces. Then in experiment three, we learned about category formation. And through this experiment, we learned that infants categorize faces by race, showing preference for sorting own race separate from other races. This occurred regardless if the faces were physically different. So I found this experiment to be very interesting because we learned that infants can actually determine race by looking at somebody's face and sorting race. And then in experiment four, we learned about scanning patterns that infants have. And so infants show different patterns of scanning own race face and others. And this suggests that cultural and ethnic differences are linked to face recognition ability. Some of the implications throughout this article that we read about was that a perceptual social linkage hypothesis suggests that infants' perceptual biases towards same race faces are linked to the development of implicit racial biases. So, early interventions that encourage infants to engage and recognize diverse faces could prevent or even reduce the prevalence of racial biases. And then these are a couple of my references. So, thank you very much. And I hope that this presentation was valuable and educational. Thank you very much.